Well, welcome everyone. Sunday Adelaja here, and let's see who is the first person we're going to have today. Who is going to lead the guard? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another day of glory, another day of great faith. I thought so. Shegun Fatumo again. Bill Muna, blessing. Adedamola, Kike Moronkeji, Florence Jumoke, Bosse, Ayodeji, Kemi Shola, Prince Kingsley, Joel Muke, Nikki Okoro, Flair Karin, Lanon Adebayo, Bobo, Pastor Irene, Eric Lindu. Eric says, hello, Pastor Sunday, Cameroon is ready to take off tonight. Okay. I think it's not only Cameroon that is ready to take off. Tiger, Diepre, I think they are in Port Harcourt. I think Port Harcourt is ready to take off, too. All right. Who do we have there again? Paul Oriade, Justin, Dominic, Victor Ogundipe, Florence, Laolu, Oluwayomi, Shegun, Eric, Nira, Kolawole, Pastor Sufficient, Amer, Charles Smith, Charles Ushe, Esther Kuganja. Oh, Esther is watching from Israel, actually. Wow. Kina Spearman, Jamin Trotter, Amir, Kazim Ahmed, Gracious, Bagan Olukemi from Luton, Bukola Shegun Fatuma. Oh, all right. That's probably Shegun Fatuma's wife. Okay, good evening. I'm seeing you for the first time. Well, nice to see all of you. Welcome tonight. And if you don't mind, please let's go and share the link. Please go share the link if you don't mind. Let's go share the link and invite our friends and let them know that they could come and join us. Obia Ojimadu is here. Elizabeth Donham is here. Yes, please let's go share the link and invite everybody to come down and join us. I'm sorry for yesterday. Yeah, was that yesterday night? Yes, yesterday night I couldn't come out on time because we had a total internet breakdown. Sorry for that, but you know, I came out later on. It was just an hour late, but we still did the program last night. It came out last night actually. So if you didn't see it, you can go back to look for it. Okay, Samson Andrew, Matthew Malandela, Noah Samuel Shukuneke, Kwame Asante. Well, the topic of tonight is developing the right what do we call it again? Develop right attitude toward money. Develop right attitude towards money. We all need to develop the right attitude to money. Right attitude towards money. We need to develop the right attitude towards money. Have wisdom. So I gave you 6 points or a few points of wisdom in the morning that I think we all need to develop. The wisdom for money and wisdom in dealing with money. And for those of you who are not there, I think you want to listen to so many points that I don't want to repeat. I would not like to repeat them. I mentioned those points in the morning, and you might want to go back to the morning session to listen to the wisdom on money. So the right attitude to money, what are the attitude of wisdom that we could all develop in ourselves towards money? All right, Victor Arua from Washington. Nice to welcome you. Samson Andrew, Kelvin, welcome everyone. Well, So developing the right attitude towards money. What are the wisdom tips on how to best deal with money? Number one, if you really want to live a life that is not, going to be stressful when it comes to money, there are some things that you need to bear in mind. And I gave you a few points like that in the morning. This evening, I want to continue. One of the things that you want to consider to avoid incessant problems and challenges in the area of money is that you want to consider that you are not living alone. You are not an island. Since you are not an island all by yourself and all to yourself, one of the things you want to really do is that anytime you are taking decisions in regards to money, anytime you are taking any decision in regards to money, any financial decision, you must always consult with your spouse. Always consult with your spouse or with your, with your family members that are adults when you are taking any financial decision. It is not wise to always take single-handedly decisions regarding money without letting those people who live with you to be aware of the decisions you are taking, especially when that decision is going to cost the family or is going to inconvenience your family members one way or the other. You don't want to take a one-sided decision in such a way that your family members will suffer or the consequences if anything happens. So you want to put responsibility on yourself, yes, but you also want to inform your family members to let them know what you are doing, and if necessary, you want to listen to their wisdom and their advice, especially when you are a man. So a lot of men like to do that. A lot of men like to take decisions without consulting their spouse and their wives, because we think that in case the lady will not allow you to take the decision, or in case the lady will discourage you. But one thing with the ladies is that women have intuition. Women have intuition, and sometimes their intuition could actually be helpful. Their intuition could actually be helpful sometimes. So be careful to make sure that even if you are not going to do what you think that your spouse or your husband or your wife is going to advise you, but still take your time to listen to them. You can listen to what they have to say and then take your decision. But always consider your spouse when it comes to financial matters. When it comes to financial matters, before you take any financial decisions, take advice or consult with your spouse. However, remember that the word is consult with your spouse. It doesn't say go and take order from your spouse. So it's a matter of consultation. It's a matter of consultation. You need to take consultation. You need to take advice and seek advice from her. But that doesn't mean that you have to give her the responsibility and share the responsibility from yourself. No, just make sure that you talk to your family members or to people who are living with you or to people that your decision could affect one way or the other. If your decision is going to affect somebody or could affect someone, you want to let them know about your decisions. So when it comes to money, wisdom tip number one that I want to give to you today is never make unilateral decisions at home. Never make unilateral financial decisions at home without consulting with your spouse when we are talking about money. Your spouse will be grateful that you consult with her. Yes, sometimes men are also afraid of the emotions of the ladies. Men always think that ladies are emotional and, she might not understand. Women are always afraid of risk, and you might be thinking, she might not understand the risk. She might be thinking that this is risky or we shouldn't do it. She might want to discourage you and things like that. But no matter what, especially when we are talking about big money, or when you are talking about investment, or when you are talking about money that your family member will feel when they leave when the money leaves your family. It's another thing if you are talking about your pocket money or whatever money that will not affect the whole budget of the family. That might be different. But when we are talking about major money or major expenses, you want to talk to your family about that. You want to consult with them. You want to seek their wisdom, and at least you want to let them know of what you are doing. And and then so when things happen, then you'll be able to have a point of reference. You'll be able to say, okay, you remember I told you about this and that the other time, and that is what we are talking about. So she just needs to be in the loop sometime. She just needs to be aware of what's happening. She just needs to be, in the loop and know that yes, she knows that there was a situation like that, there was an investment like that or expenses like that. But it will be very embarrassing when something comes up and then your wife doesn't even know that you are involved or engaged in those kind of expenses, or that you had money leaving the house or your pocket. And so so for you just to avoid any kind of headache and all kinds of strifes and conflict, you want to tell your family members, not all of them, but I'm talking about husband and wife right now. If you want to talk about, you want to talk to your spouse about your financial decisions, and especially serious financial decisions that could cost you something or that could have consequences upon your family. Next point. Once a decision is taken, this is the next wisdom tip that I want to give you today. Once a decision is taken concerning money, and you have informed your people about it, or if you have taken a financial decision in the family or in your life, the next thing you must expect is that you should take responsibility. You should be willing to take responsibility for that decision. So sometimes we take decisions and then we begin to blame other people for the decisions that we take. We begin to point accusing fingers and say somebody put me into that situation, someone asked me to do that, or someone is to blame. That does not show any act of responsibility at all. So a responsible person will take decisions and take responsibility for his decisions. You want to take responsibility for your decision. So if the decision has been taken and it was your decision, yes, then let it be your decision. Stop blaming people. You shouldn't even blame people who recommended for you to take that decision. Or you shouldn't blame the people who advised you. Even if they wrongly advised you, it was still your decision. So you still have to take that decision and take responsibility for the decision. If you took that decision, it is your responsibility. So money demands responsibility, and money likes responsibility. So whenever you take any financial decision, make sure you take responsibility for that decision. But what does it mean to take responsibility? Taking responsibility actually means being responsible for the consequences. Because normally when our decisions are successful, and when they yield us success, and when we are successful and we take a decision that is leading us to profit or reward, we don't need to teach you to take responsibility for that. We all know how to take responsibility for success. We all know how to take responsibility for great success, for victory. When we have victory, we are always happy about it. But what about when it's not victory? What about when it's defeat? What about when you run into trouble after you've taken your decision? You must come back to your people, to your family, and especially to your spouse, and let them know that you blew it, and that this is what happened. Be truthful about it. Face the fact. Don't run away from the fact. Don't dodge the obvious thing that has happened. Don't be deceptive. Don't put the blame on any other person. Just humble yourself and take responsibility for whatever has happened, especially when it has bad consequences. And you might feel embarrassed initially, or in the beginning you might feel ashamed, but it's still better to take responsibility for your decisions, and especially for your financial decisions, than to let that responsibility lie on other person. When you let responsibility lie on other person, you are actually giving away your power. You depriving yourself of your power, of your personality power. When you give away the responsibility to another person, that person has power over you. Whoever you share the responsibility to is the person that is actually, lording it over you, ruling you. So be your own person. And part of what it means to be your own person is to take responsibility. Take responsibility for whatever decision you have taken. If it's your decision, it's your decision. If it had led you to success, you wouldn't have been complaining. But because it led to failure, that's why you are complaining. So learn to take responsibility for your decisions, no matter how the result is. Either it's good or bad, or it's ugly, That's why the word repentance is in the Bible. The practice of repentance is one of the greatest kingdom cultures. The ability to be able to take responsibility for your decision and repent. So the fact that we all repent before God for our sins, that's a way of us taking responsibilities. So repentance is one of the ways God is trying to teach all of us to take responsibility for our decisions and to learn to repent, to learn to humble ourselves and admit the wrong things we might have done one way or the other, and to take responsibility for what's happening in our lives. And God is trying to tell us not to trade blames. Don't throw blames around. Don't let other people be responsible for whatever decision you took, especially when it comes to money. If you begin to take, because one of the ways of you coming out of whatever problem you have run into financially is for you to begin to admit and say, yes, I blew it, I made a mistake, it was my decision, and this is what I did, this was wrong, or this was not right, but it was my decision. So once you take that decision, and it is your decision, and you take responsibility for it, you begin to overcome it. That is the beginning of your process of victory. That is the beginning of your process of deliverance, of escape from that problem. But if you are avoiding taking responsibility and you are saying you don't really know what happened and all that, well, you might never be able to get out of that crisis. You might never be able to get out of that problem. So, taking responsibility, repenting for whatever action or lack of action that we did and we were engaged is one of the ways and means for us to actually resolve our issues, our problems, to be able to solve our problems. But when you are unwilling to take responsibility, then things don't move, things don't get improved, so things don't get better. Okay, the next wisdom tip that I want to give to you about money, about developing the right attitude to money is never negotiate and never compromise with paying your tithe. Never compromise with paying your tithe and at least your tithe. Never, compromise with paying your tithe. Never negotiate it. Never dispute it. A lot of teachings out there that tithe might not be necessary or it might not be scriptural and all that. But once Jesus has mentioned it in the Bible, in the New Testament, so if it had not been a New Testament doctrine, Jesus would not have mentioned it. But since Jesus himself mentions tithe in the New Testament, in the Gospels, it means tithe is legitimate. So don't let anybody talk you out of your tithe. Now, if you don't believe in the pastor or in the leadership of the church, if you don't believe in what they are doing in that church, then you might want to take your tithe to somebody else in whom you believe, or you might want to give your tithe to someone else who is actually contributing to your life, who is enriching you, who is feeding you spiritually. But you still must pay your tithe. So tithe belongs to the people that are responsible for feeding you spiritually. Normally those are your pastors. Because if your pastor is the one that is feeding you spiritually, if that is the person that is, that is the source of your spiritual nourishment, then you want to be thankful one way or the other to that church or to that pastor or to that source of blessing that you have in your life. So so don't let anybody talk you out of your tithe. I don't believe and I don't like the fact that churches are talking about all kinds of offerings these days. I don't like people talking about first fruits. I think first fruits is not a New Testament practice. I don't think that the churches today should be talking about first fruits. And frankly speaking, if you want to know what I think that people who practice first fruit, they're just looking for a way of getting more money from members of the church. I think it's just a way, but people just found something in the Bible to use as an excuse to make people in their churches give more and more. And all those things that people call prophet offering and faith offering, I think those are just manipulations. I'm sorry. I feel that the only responsibility that a believer has before the church is to pay his tithe, maybe pay some offerings as well. And if you feel that God is specifically speaking to you in regards to some special offerings or special events or special projects that you are doing, then let God speak to you specifically. But if you are foolish enough to be responding to every appeal church people give and pastors give, if you are driven by emotions and if you are driven by sentiments and you are believing everything that people who come to the church say, speakers and preachers who go to the pulpit say, then you are just going to be a victim. They are going to milk you. You are going to be milked, and you are going to be, they are just going to, treat you like a sheep, and they are going to, remove all your fall from you. They are just going to, they are going to dry, suck you dry, and there are a lot of manipulations going on in churches now, and that's not even the only problem with giving all your money to the church. Another problem with that is that most of those churches will never teach you how to make money. They will never teach you how to get free financially. They will never really teach you the loss of money. They will never teach you really what you need to do to be really rich. So they keep on taking your money, and they will keep on telling you empty promises like, give and it shall be given to you and all kind of things like that. Whereas they are not teaching you the skills on how to get it, on how it will be given to you. And then you'll be, going around the circle, and you never really come out of financial crisis. So those are all manipulations going on in the church. So I believe that you have to pay your tithe and offering, nothing more, unless God specifically tells you and directs you to give some more money. Then that's different. But otherwise, all kind of gimmicks and people are using today to manipulate and get money out of the church members is horrible. It's just horrible. It's just totally embarrassing. But, your tithe and offering, you are supposed to pay. That is one of the ways you prove to God that money does not own you, that you own money, but money does not own you. Through tithe and offering, you are also telling God that you are faithful to Him. You are faithful to Him, and you are grateful to Him for the strength He gives you to make money, for the power He gives you to make money, and for the knowledge He has given you, for the wisdom He gave to you, and for the talent He has put in you, for all the resources that you have that has now enabled you to make that money. So you are actually paying homage to God and giving God the preeminence in your life through your tithe. So, tithe is a good thing. It's a good thing. The ability to release and the ability to let go is good for you, and it will enrich your relationship with the Lord. And it also shows that you are trusting in God. Whenever you pay your tithe, you are releasing it, trusting that God will provide you with His blessings and maybe His protection, maybe His favor, maybe His wisdom, His ideas, and and that He will rebuke the devourer for your sake, and He will prevent curses from coming upon your life. So, you want to do what you need to do, but you also don't want people to take advantage of you. Kike is saying something, and I always like to read what Kike says, because she's a smart girl. She's a very smart girl. She was in my class. She was in my HMT school, History Maker School, and she did very well as a student. And she's proving her smartness, her wit here on this show as well. So Kike is saying some churches can't take the offering themselves, so they invite special guests or ministers that are able to manipulate the congregation into giving. Yeah, actually there are pastors and ministers who specialize in that. Some people are just known for specializing in squeezing the hands and the pockets of church members to give, and to give what what they will later divide with the church. So these people, they go to behind the curtain or behind the scene, and they get some percentage from how much they gather. So some people even get to up to 50% of how much money they raise in that particular church. So all those guest speakers of taking offerings and all those things, they are just all kind of manipulations going on. I'm sorry. Bobo says, this must be the hardest pill to swallow, Pastor, given what we have been taught. Once again, thank you. This is empowering. Okay. I don't know what is... Okay, Bobo, what do you mean is the hardest pill to swallow? What in particular is hard? To give your tithe or what? What is it that is a hard one to swallow? I don't understand. Will you explain further? I would like to hear what Bobo means by that. Okay, while she's writing. Yeah, we need to give our tithe no matter what. We need to give our tithe, but we shouldn't be open to manipulation. You know what you are supposed to give. You know what, your duties are. And that's it. Don't do more than that. And think of your future. Think of your children. Think of your... think of paying yourself. Think of your destiny. Think of your old age. Think of your faithfulness to God. Think of being a good steward. Ernest Ebong says, my immediate younger brother, who just got a new job, who is undergoing training and not even collecting his first salary yet, was planning to give his full salary as first fruit to a church in Nigeria. Wow! Until God moved him to hint me. I rebuked him sternly, and he was glad I opened his eyes. The tricks churches are using to loot poor people of their little earnings. If you want to give first fruit, I think it might not be a bad idea if God leads him to give first fruit to his parents. That might be a good thing, because your parents are people that are responsible for training you, for sending you to school, for making you and bringing you to where you are. That might be logical that you want to do your first fruit, because that's the first thing you got, and you want to thank them for it. That might be, if your pastor is that person that made you who you are, maybe you want to do that. But but not to do that as something that is just tradition or a practice that everybody is being manipulated to do. Olaide says, thanks for this teaching. I've always had issues around tithing in church, as I tend to give mine to the less privileged. Is this wrong? No, if you feel that's what your heart is leading you to do, and if you feel that you feel more peace that way, if you feel more harmony that way, it's not bad, because at least you know where the money is going to, and you know that the money is helping somebody. But in my own case, I would prefer that you take your tithe to the church, especially if you have somebody who is responsible for you in that church who is helping you, and then give offering to the less privileged. But if that's what you feel like doing, why not? But Bobo says, no, the fact that other monies requested might not be necessary, but the tithe. Oh, okay. Okay, is that I don't think that should be a hard pill. Bobo was talking about a hard pill to swallow. I think maybe that would be a hard pill to swallow for pastors, that other monies that are being requested and being demanded for in the churches are not really necessary, because only the tithe is necessary. Yes, because many of these pastors, I'm sorry, I'm not here to disgrace or abuse pastors, but many pastors are not just showing stewardship when it comes to money. Many of them, they don't show responsibility when it comes to money. Many of them don't even know how to be a steward when it comes to money. So many of them are abusing the loss of money. And if you are giving your money to those kinds of pastors, you are just wasting your money. I'm sorry, you're just wasting your resources. Florence Yakundi says, I never struggle with giving tithe, but I was taught that in order to prosper financially, I have to give offering, and the bigger the better for prosperity. Now, giving tithe and offering is one of the laws of financial prosperity, but it's not the thing that brings money to your life. It's when you pay your tithe and offering, God blesses you with His health, with His vigor, with His energy, with His ideas. He rebukes the devourer for your sake. He opens heaven for you. He doesn't send money from heaven. He gives you ideas. So yeah, in that way, there is a blessing for sure in giving, but it's not for prosperity. For you to have financial prosperity, you need to produce goods and services. You need to be involved in the process of production, especially production of goods and services. And then you need to have a lot of other skills. And you need to know the loss of money, like we have been talking about this week and the whole of last week. So, the people who get prospered are not people who are givers, but the people who know the loss of money. Even if they are not believers, even if they are non-Christians, if they know the loss of money, yes, that is when you get prospered, not just because you are giving money to other people. You know what? The truth is, if you are giving money to people, all the kind of offerings that you are giving to churches and pastors, and I know who gets prospered. The person who gets prospered at the end of the day is the pastor or the church, but only not you. The person who gets prospered is the one to whom the money is going to. It's not the one from whose pocket the money is leaving. It's not you who is giving the money. The money is leaving your pocket. The money is not being multiplied. The money is leaving you. You don't get prospered that way. You get prospered by keeping the money and investing the money and multiplying the money. That's how you get prospered. But the person who is receiving the money every day or every week from you, yes, the person gets prospered too. I understand that. So when the giving is a way to prosperity, yes, for the pastor and for the church, but not for the members. Not for the members. That's just the truth. Adelaja said, I don't take cash to church anymore. That is so wise. I pay my tithe and offering by direct bank transfer to my church. My giving is automated and planned, so there is no room for manipulation by any pastor. That is so smart. That is so smart. That is so smart. Brilliant. Brilliant. That is a good one. So you wear good clothes and dress in your traditional Nigerian dress and look really prosperous and wealthy, and they are thinking they will be looking at you and targeting you, thinking that guy should come with a lot of bucks. They will not know that the guy is just a big bagida dress, but without any money inside. That is amazing. That is so shocking. Wow, what a wisdom. Yes, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. You avoid and save yourself from a lot of manipulation that way. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, that's about that. But you pay your tithes. It's one of the laws for financial prosperity, in the sense that God will, block the heavens. He will open the heavens for you for ideas and strength and grace to come upon you, and He would rebuke the devourer for your sake. But that does not mean that is the way for you to have financial prosperity. If you want to have financial prosperity, you must know the laws of money. Okay, the next wisdom tip that might be able to help you today especially when, for you to develop the right attitude towards money, is that I spent 2 days or 3 days, the past 3-4 days, talking about debt. And that's the next thing I want to say. That's the next wisdom key for you. Get out of debt. Get out of debt. Don't keep debt upon your head. Either it's credit card debt, or it's mortgage debt, or it's TOS card debt, or it's debt to individuals, to other people. Get out of debt. Now, there are good debts, like I said. The good debt is when you are taking money and using it to buy assets and not liquidity and not liability. It's a good debt when you already have like 70% of the money that you need. Let's say you need 1,000, you already have 700, and you only took 300 to balance what you have. That is a good debt. Another good debt is when you already have, let's say, 3 times or 5 times the amount that you are borrowing. So if I am worth, let's say, $1 million US, and I'm just borrowing $100,000 or $200,000, that's a good debt, because I have much more assets and much more than enough assets to offload and to cover for that that debt I'm taking, just in case of emergency or in case of force majeure. So so there are instances when debt could be permissible, and also maybe when you are using a debt that is of lower percentage to cover and pay for the higher percentage, especially when there are many, and so that to reduce your percentage of paying your loan. That might be another way to do a good debt. But but debt generally, they make you slaves. Debt make you slave to the lender. So whoever you had lent you the money controls you, because you begin to fear when they call you. You begin to have concerns. You begin to be afraid. You begin to run away from them. You begin to have conflicts and reputation issues, and begin to debt is something you want to avoid by all means. You don't want to live in debt. And I've spoken about debt in details this week. And so if you have not been listening to these teachings, especially to the sections, to the ones I spoke about debt, you want to go back, or you want to go to my blog. I have all the teachings on my blog in their chronological order, SundayAdelajablog.com. You'll see the video blog. You can go there and listen to all the teachings there, and also you can get them on YouTube. They are also here on Facebook, but Facebook is all mixed up with other videos, so it's more difficult for you to get it. So get out of debt by all means, and the strategy to use to get out of debt I also told you people already this week, so I'm not going to be repeating those ones any longer. Now, the next wisdom tip I want to give you about developing the right attitude towards money is that whenever you want to start a project, don't just start with a project with other people's money or with borrowed money. Whenever you want to start a project, it's better for you to start with what you have. Even if what you have is small, at least start doing something with what you have. So always start any project, especially that is money demand, that demands money from you. Start any project with your money, with your resources, with what you have, not what you don't have. When the Bible says that when you have the zeal to give, that it is accepted. Your sacrifice and your giving is accepted when you give from what you have, not what you don't have. So when we are talking about money, you don't want to, start the little thing, anything you want to do. You don't want to start it by borrowing other people's money. You want to start by using your own money. Once you have used your money and you have, done something, then you could now begin to talk to other people about that, about helping, about partnering with you. So whenever, be it a vision that you are starting, God is giving you a vision. Use your energy. You might not even use money. Most of the things that God has called us to do, we don't really need money. If you have a vision, pursue it with energy. Tell people about it. Bring it to pass as much as you can, and share the vision. You will discover that people buy into visions. If it's a project that you have, you might not have money, but maybe you have the zeal, maybe you have the passion, maybe you have the knowledge. Put all the things you have, turn them into resources, turn them into money, because you could use your capacity, your vision, your passion, your charisma, your ability to communicate and speak. You could use all that to gain money. So, just use what you have. Use what you have to get what you need. And don't start any project by going to borrow. You can take partners to join you, to be with you, because you, on one hand, you are bringing the intellectual property, you are bringing the idea, you are bringing the vision or the project, and somebody could partner with you by bringing the money. Yes, that is possible, but at least start doing something first. That's why when you go to the bank to borrow some money, they always tell you to provide some percentage of what you can, maybe of that amount you are asking for. Sometimes they will ask you to give 20% or 30%, or, you give some percentage. Tell us what you have done. Tell us your resource. Tell us, what you have done from your own side. So that is the way it is in life. Anything you are called to do, anything you want to start always with where you are. Start with what you have. And, every vision is born like that. Don't ever despise the days of small beginning. Start with what you have. It is small that grows. So when you start with the small thing you have, you will discover that it will grow. God will bless it. God will find a way to blessing you and to multiplying the little thing you have. Even if it is not money that you have, but if you have some talent, some potential, some abilities, those are enough also. You could start even with those ones. Start with what you have. Don't start a new project or a new plan or a new vision by borrowing. Don't do that. Start with what you have first. Then later on, other people could join and you could increase your starting, whatever you are doing to another level. Okay, the next the next wisdom tip I want to give you today is that you will always be in financial problem if you don't cut your coat according to your size. You will always be in financial problem if you will not cut your coat according to your size. So you need to cut your coat according to your size. You need to learn to cut your coat according to your size. That don't buy things that you don't need yet. And don't buy things that are too expensive for you, for the income that you are making. Don't buy things because other people are just buying it. Don't follow trend to get yourself into debt. Live within your means. That's what it means. Live within your means. And but living within your means that you don't spend. It doesn't mean that you spend your whole salary. You say, okay, I'm making $2,000 a month. Living within my means I don't spend beyond $2,000. No. Living within your limit means that you you spend much less than that $2,000. It means that you take 30% of that $2,000 to pay yourself, and then you follow all your obligations and pay God as well, and put some money for your vision, in your calling, and then you do the budget for your family. So so that coat we are cutting according to your size means just live a modest life and live in a way that after you have you paid yourself and you have paid God and you have done all the things that you need to do, that then you can say, okay, you want to use some money to do some other things. But otherwise, don't be flamboyant. There is a teaching that I did that we should stop using money. We should stop spending money that we don't have to buy things that we don't need and to impress people that don't really care. So, that is what it means. You don't want to spend the money you don't have to buy things that you don't need. to impress people that don't really care. So cut your coat according to your size. Cut your coat according to your size. Now, the next wisdom tip that might be helpful to you is see yourself as an agent of God. See yourself as an agent of God on the earth. And when it comes to money, any money that comes to you, know that as an agent of God, for your first desire should be to please God. Let God know that you want to please Him, you want to obey Him, come what may, and always make Him your priority. Always, and in the way you manage your money as well, because He is a good stewardship. He is a good steward, and He's expecting good stewardship from you. So always put God first. Always obey God, and whatever God tells you to do should be done first of all. So always make sure that you obey God, and that any instruction that He gives you, you do it. So make God your priority, especially in obeying Him. Don't put God off till tomorrow. Don't say, "Oh, God, God can wait." Yes, God can wait, but it might not be a good thing for you to cause God to wait. You probably want to do what He's asking you to do now, because He knows the way and means by which to multiply you and reward you and compensate even for those things that you were busy doing before. So, be obedient to God. Make God first, and serve God with all your resources. Serve God with your talent. Serve God with your money. Serve God with everything you've got. I'm not seeing your comments anymore. Do we still have comments, or is it just my iPad that has decided not to show the comments anymore? I can't see anybody's comment. The last comment I saw was from Kike Moron KJ. I wonder if it is this my machine that is not showing the comments anymore. I'm seeing the stars and the likes, but not the comments, especially from Nikki Okoro. Nikki Okoro keeps on liking, but I can't see anything written. Nothing. I can't see anything written. All right, no problem. Another wisdom tip that we all want to pay attention to that will help us in life is to be generous. Be a generous heart. Now, being a generous heart does not mean to be irreasonable. Being a generous heart does not mean to be wasteful. And being a generous heart does not mean, you are not, it does not mean emotional giving, because money is not emotional. So being generous does not mean you lose your common sense. Being generous means that actually being generous does not always mean that it is money you give out. Being generous means being generous in the heart, first of all. Being generous in your character, in your heart, in your soul. So what that means is that you are considerate to people, and you are finding ways that you could help people by. Sometimes it's through money, but sometimes it's not through money. Sometimes a good word is enough. Sometimes a sharing of your experience is enough. Sometimes it's enough to let people know, how you care for them, your kindness, your smile, your attitude towards people is already, generosity. But when, of course, generosity also includes money. So, you want to, help, especially when you see that help will not cripple the person. That help will not paralyze the person. If you know that help will help the person eventually to do something for themselves, then you want to maybe help them. But giving money to people, as we have learned, only in rare cases it will really help people, because you want people to go through the process, before you give them the money. The money is the end result, but it is only the process that changes people. It's not the money that changes people. It is the process that they go through that changes them. So be generous, especially when it comes to generosity. I'm thinking in terms of the handicapped people, the disadvantaged people, the widows, the orphans, the foreigners, the needy, the poor, those are the kind of people we want to show generosity to. It's not when we go and spray money in parties that we are generous, but it's when we are able to be compassionate like God and use our money to show God's virtue, God's character of being compassionate. Okay, so yeah, I see. But you probably are writing something. It's just my iPad today that will not show it. It's a pity. Okay. Another wisdom tip that will help you to change your attitude towards money is that financial prosperity is not how much you make, but how much you save. So financial prosperity does not come by how much money you make, but by how much money you save. A lot of people live in that deception, thinking that they will be rich if they get huge salary or big salary. And a lot of people are falling into that deception. They keep on working more and more, selling themselves over to Uncle Sam, being a slave to the system of this world, and enslaving themselves by working harder because they want to make more money. And they are thinking that the more money they make, they better their lifestyle will be. But experience and life has shown that it doesn't always work that way. When you are, making a lot of money and you don't know the skills and the rudiments of savings and multiplication of money and investment, you will discover that no matter how much money you make, you are still poor. So if you don't learn how to preserve money, the loss of money, the first loss of money said, money should never be spent. So if you're not spending money, if you are spending money and you don't know the loss of money, you will just discover that it doesn't matter how much money you make, it doesn't matter how much comes through you onto your hand, you will end up squandering them. You will end up using them and wasting them, and you just become, another poor person in town. You become just a mediocre. So it is not the amount of money you make that really matters, but how much you are able to save, how much you are able to hold on to, how much you are able to control yourself from spending. That is what determines your wealth. So your wealth is not determined by how much you make. It is determined by how much you spend, or how less you spend, or how little you spend. So the more you can save, it will help and enhance your finances. But not just how much you can save, but also how much you can increase, how much you can multiply, how much you want to invest. All right, so your investment will go a long way to determine your wealth, not how much you are making. Someone could be making $100 every month, and by the next 10 years, he will become a millionaire, and the guy that is making $100,000 every month will still be struggling with money. So that is the reality, and that's quite possible. So the key to wealth, one of the most important key to wealth, is to know the first 2 or 3 laws of money, which is money must never be spent. Secondly, money must be retained. And number 3, you should never listen to the dictates of money. You should never listen to the dictates of money. So those things will help you to be rich, but it's not the salary or how much money you have that causes your wealth to come. And it's not how much salary you pay, or you are paid, that causes your wealth to come. It is how much money you are able to save and then multiply or invest that determines your prosperity. Then the last point I will be making today is that don't just keep money in the house. Any money that you keep in the house, you will eventually lose. Any money that you just save, you will lose as well. So you can save just for a purpose. Save for the purpose of multiplication, or save for the purpose of investment. Money must always work for you. You must keep money working for you. So if your money is just being piled up in the room or in your house, it will disappear one way or the other. Somebody will come to borrow them, or a problem will happen with your family members, or emergency will happen in your village or in your town. Something will just go wrong. There is just no way you will have money and something will not go wrong. People who have money, who keep money waiting and not working for them, something will always demand. You will be aware that you have the money, but somebody else will know that you have the money. They will come with pity songs, and they will come to beg you for that and this until you part with that money, and they will not pay you back. That's just the way life is. So don't keep money, use money. Don't just keep money at home. Use money to multiply money. Use money for investment, and let money always work for you. Let money be busy. Let money be working for you, not keeping money in the house. So that's the part 2 of the message that I gave today. Developing the right attitude. Develop the right attitude to money. Developing the right attitude to money. These are actually wisdom tips in developing the right attitude to money. So I hope you've been helped today. I would like to see your decisions, your comments, your impressions about these teachings. What do you think? Has it blessed any one of you, or it didn't bless you? Or do you think it's helpful or it's not helpful? Write us what you think. Write us what you think. And I think this teaching should be able to help 1 or 2 people out there. But before I go, I want to ask you to go and share the link. If you have not shared the link yet, please go and share the link to this program. Maybe it will help other people. And then, Money Won't Make You Rich is my book that is talking about money. And somebody said, when you are listening to these teachings, it's very important to be reading this book parallel at the same time. That reading the book at the same time and then listening to Pastor Sunday, that just makes a whole lot of difference. So you can get the book in any Christian store or on Amazon. And then, if you are one of those people who would like to go, I hope all of you saw the video about the mindset of a reformer. It is called The Mindset of a Reformer, about me going to Nigeria, and that I'm gathering 200 people from Ukraine and Russia going with me. And also I'm gathering 2,000 people from all over the world. So if you want to join that end time move, and you want to help us, go with us back to Africa to transform the continent and to change the image of Africa for the better, you want to contribute to doing something significant in your lifetime, you want to be a history maker, and please, you want to get and join us, then you have to go and register. Go to my blog, sundayadelajablog.com, sundayadelajablog.com, and then you could go and register for the Nigerian project there, and register for the newsletter as well. So everything you need will be there, and we'll be getting back to you, giving you more information from time to time. So, well, I can't read what you are writing, unfortunately, and since I cannot read what you are writing, I think it might be about time to end up today's show. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll be back with you tomorrow morning. God bless. Bye.